Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back to Real Crypto. Thanks for joining me here today. We're going to talk in this video about Bitcoin, some of the top altcoins, the ones on GDAX or the ones I generally follow. And we're looking at Bitcoin right now with a bunch of lines on my chart. There's a purple thing there. There's a bunch of purple things arcing down below. These are kind of a inverse head and shoulders that Bitcoin's been putting in ever since this bottom about a week or so ago. There's this neckline in this white right here. This has been a line of resistance that's been formed in Bitcoin ever since we had these highs put in. And we broke that recently. The volume, albeit a little bit anemic on GDAX, if we actually go over to Bitfinex, it's better. I want to show you that. Okay, so there's the Bitfinex volume. It's a little better there. Definitely better there. Okay, so a little bit of a different situation over here. And now we have a bull flag in Bitcoin and trying to break up. And that would probably take us past my 200 period moving average here on the chart, and this is a very good indicator of trend. Typically when this gets broken, the trend continues going in the direction of the break. Here you see it broke. You can see here it broke downward, tested it, and then failed. So now we're going to break it again to the upside, more than likely, and we'll see if we end up going all the way back down into the 200 period moving average or not. Now, there's a few other lines on my chart that are important here. This white line is of importance. This is kind of the most recent breakdown point of this topping area right here. There's a semblance of a double head and shoulders here. There's two heads, and there's actually even another shoulder here and a shoulder here, and there's kind of another shoulder here. Very similar. There's just a lot of peaks all over the place, and those generally lead to reversal trends. So here's a reversal on the upside. Here's a reversal on the downside. This is obviously much smaller than this situation, so you can anticipate that the upside movement would not be as egregious. Okay, now I just have a lot of lines on my chart. All right, so let's try to figure out exactly where we can go in this Bitcoin run up. We're going to take this head situation up to this potential neckline. We're going to move that up here from the breakdown point. That takes us up to approximately $8,200. We're just going to call it 82 for some easy math. And that puts us right up here kind of in line with the situation. Not a ton of resistance or support over here, but that does put us well above this 200 period moving average, which is bullish. And if we draw this trend line between these 2 points and let this kind of play itself out, there's a pretty good possibility that we run up until the 17th, which would give us a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks, a good run in Bitcoin, which will give altcoins a really good place to run. So let's dive into Bitcoin, see what's what. Looks like we're trying to break over. Here you go. Here's that most recent consolidation. Here's that trend line that we discussed. Here's a retest of the trend line on good volume, so that's probably good for a buy right there. And then now we have a trend line break right here. If we can get going in Bitcoin, off to the races we go. Now, since Bitcoin's been moving well, Bitcoin Cash actually began moving well, had a bigger percentage gain, and is consolidating, I think, in a more healthy manner. You can see here, only 4 or 5 bars of consolidation. Bitcoin had one pop and has been consolidating this entire time. Bitcoin Cash already over and trying to live above this 200 period moving average. You can see right there, and if we do that, then Bitcoin Cash has a potentially much larger run in it. You can see a more well-defined inverted head and shoulders in Bitcoin Cash as well. Also in tune with a potential much larger inverted head and shoulders in Bitcoin Cash. This one being very interesting because it has a lower low here than this low, but the neckline in this is pretty egregious, and I think it would be hard for us to actually get a meaningful move out of Bitcoin Cash. This is a pretty big move from here up to this potential neckline. That's about 77% upside move. So we'll see if that plays out. Bitcoin would have to get very aggressive to the upside if that were to work. But that is something in the cards there. I don't think it's necessarily extremely likely, however. So let's take a look at Ethereum. So we first talked about Ethereum in this large head and shoulders pattern up here. The neckline, the breakdown, which did occur, and quite textbook, I might add, straight through that line, volume increased, and subsequently forming an inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? We're seeing these all over the place in these top altcoins. We're seeing the same patterns over and over again. They're all traded, very similarly. The consolidation here around the neckline, you can see we had this one big red candle right here, kind of in the middle of nowhere. Looks like it's a little bit of a bottoming candle. We actually didn't get any lower than that on this throwback, on this higher volume. So it looks like this is our bottom in Ethereum for right now at the 561 area. Moving higher, the volume though not really participating. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with this. But the upside target out of this inverted head and shoulders pattern actually lines up pretty well with where we broke down from in this head and shoulders pattern. So I don't view this as actually particularly bullish, because when we talk about Bitcoin Cash, about Bitcoin. When we talk about Bitcoin here, we actually have this target going past the neckline for this larger consolidation pattern. There's the neckline. Here's the throwback into the neckline, but it's into the neckline. You see that there on Bitcoin? Ethereum, it's a different ballgame. It throws up into the breakdown point. This is a prime area for moves to fail to the upside and then roll over. I think Bitcoin Cash much of the same, although I didn't cover that. It actually looks like it's not even that big, but let's find out here. Sorry, I kind of screwed that one up there. So you see Bitcoin Cash not even making it all the way back to this trend line break, which it already tested once well up here. It already tested once up here, which is kind of another reason why I don't think this whole head and shoulders potential on Bitcoin Cash is going to work out, or this bigger inverted head and shoulders is going to work out. And then taking a look at Litecoin, which has been probably the weakest of the top altcoins, you can see comfortably living under in the lower 100s. 123 right now. We did come back and we did touch. If you remember, I had two head and shoulders patterns here. It actually looks like this is the one that played out, hit it perfectly at 110, bounced off of that trend line, have a triple bottom, quadruple bottom, quintuple bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now five tests of this trend line in Litecoin. And trend lines, the more times they're touched, the more likely they are to fail. So if the market does get bearish, Litecoin probably will be one of the worst performers, just based off of that situation right there, with that trend line being tested so much and so frequently. You can see two tests there, one test here. So it's inverted head and shoulders. Also, as you can already tell without me even drawing, isn't going to get us much past here, but I will go ahead and draw it out anyways. So you can see right there, brings us right up to this breakdown point from a prior level. Boom, you can see it right there. So, excuse me, all of these top altcoins not really looking super healthy, looking like, yes, there's a potential bottoming area here for a good bounce, but it may not get very aggressive. It doesn't mean you don't take trades. You do take the trades. You trade the altcoins on their own merits. You still have to do that. You can't be scared of Bitcoin that it's going to fail, because there's a good possibility, going back to Bitcoin here, that we do rally for the foreseeable future. Get my chart right here. There we go, into this trend line. And like I said, that gives us 2 weeks. That's a potential. That's a good potential for Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash to really have a good run to the upside, and give us these gains. So Ethereum, you're looking at maybe 10%, 11% up here. Bitcoin Cash looks like it's already halfway through its run, so about another 9%, but it's already had a pretty big run out of this neckline here. So there's a good possibility, if everything's running good, Bitcoin Cash may get back up here at about the 1,300 level. That would put us at about a 19 to 20% gain. And then we'll have to see what happens when the market gets up there. Bitcoin's really going to lead us up or down. That we already know. So we have to look at Big Daddy Bitcoin for the clues, and then just trade accordingly. That's how it is. Another one to mention here today. Ooh, Theta moving out. Wow. Last time I looked at Theta, it was in this candle and did not make that move. Since we're here, let's talk about Theta. So in the power hour today, we had a buy at Theta down here at about the 3,200 level. And that turned out to work out extremely well. The 3,200 turned out to be a good buy point for two reasons. Number one, because it was so close to this bottom of this trend line. And number two, because, if you know anything about Theta recently, this is a new issue on Binance, and it has been working quite successfully a little breakout here and a very nice consolidation symmetrical triangle pattern here. This has a really good potential for a 16% run there, possibly much more running up out of here. So if we take a measured move from this breakout point to the most recent high here, a potential move out, let's say we break out soon, you know, potential for a 37 to 40, 45, 50% trade, depending on how Theta keeps going. Congratulations to those of you guys in the power hour that did pick that up at that 32.10, 32.20 level. All right, on to EOS, which is kind of the coin of the day. Their mainnet is launching today. We discussed this in the power hour. We were right about here is where we discussed it. And this was my sell line for EOS, was this trend line right here. All right, when you have these types of situations, and the same went for Verge. The same went for Verge when it had its announcement of its announcement. Then it finally announced its announcement. We had a similar trend line sell. As long as the trend's intact, ladies and gentlemen, you ride it up. But the second the trend starts to fail, you've got to get out of Dodge. So you can see here we had a high volume sell candle right here, almost equal to this red candle, and then the subsequent sell-off candle here, which is the highest candle, pretty much killing the move. Now, apparently EOS is going to kind of go into dark territory where we're not going to, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to trade it tomorrow or not, but we're not going to be able to, you know, claim your tokens or whatnot after today. I believe, I could be wrong. Please correct me in the comments below if I am incorrect about that. I'm more of a trader than I deal with these technical aspects. But with this kind of topping action here, it is highly unlikely we get a much larger bounce in EOS. I think that your risk here is much greater than your potential reward. And volume is going to lead you up if I'm incorrect. And you can see the volume declining ever since we put in this last bottoming candle. Volume instantly dropped off and subsequently kind of rolling over and going up in declining volume. Generally not bullish. I would probably anticipate EOS rolling over from here. But if we go higher, volume really has to be extravagant on, you know, the likes of this kind of volume right there. All right, let's look at our next coin, ONT, which we've been hawking in the Real Crypto Power Hour for quite a while. Actually, these we pretty much drew in real time. We talked about this declining trend line. Then we had this pop here that didn't quite work out. And then now yesterday, I'm sorry, I think it was 2 days ago we had this. What was that? Yeah, 31st. So 3 days ago, we had this pop out. This we did catch in the power hour, if I'm not mistaken. We caught that there, and then we caught this pop again over here, and now living in this consolidation. A lot of the members of the community actually are in on ONT. This is something we've been watching for a while. And another one that came along today that I wasn't as on top of, we did look at it, but the volume in it really wasn't exemplary for me, was Zill. And this candle right now having excellent volume popping out of it. It's a little high to get involved now, but breaking the 200 period moving average is bullish. Maybe if we can, if we get up a little higher and pull back into this 200 period moving average, that would be a great place to add Zill. So Zill looking pretty good there as well. And another one that we've been watching in on the Real Crypto Power Hour and Slack group has been AE. We've been watching this one for quite some time. One of the best and largest and well-formed head and shoulders, I'm sorry, cup and handle pattern in the cryptocurrency space. Looking like it's finally starting to do something. It's been consolidating for quite some time. It actually changed this handle pattern 3 times. And the very early buy point was down here late last night. So this is going to be one that's going to take a while for this trade to play out, but there's a good potential that this big cup and handle pattern in AE ends up looking like this large cup and handle pattern in Ontology. That's at least what we're looking for. Has nothing to do with Ontology specifically, but large cup and handle patterns like this that are very well defined, have good volume signatures, tend to work extraordinarily well, and I would really like AE to give us this Ontology type of a move. So, all right, guys, there you go. That's pretty much the market in a nutshell right now, at least the way that I see it. We've got Bitcoin looking like it wants to move higher for the foreseeable future. A couple areas, again, to look for resistance would be this trend line here and also this trend line well up here. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. Please feel free to check out the Power Hour at real-crypto.com and click on the Power Hour link where every single day we discuss the the coins moving that day and general trading principles. And it's just a fun time. A lot of great people in that trading room. So thanks for joining me, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good day.